This is the Savvy Investor radio show and podcast with Mike Canet and Ryan Herbert of ProStatus Financial, now celebrating 20 years helping families build successful retirements and lasting family legacies. Mike is a financial planner and estate planning attorney with a master's degree in tax and 4-time Amazon best-selling author. Ryan is a 5-star Wealth Management Award winner and top-ranked financial advisor by Forbes. Now, the Savvy Investor radio show and podcast.
Thanks for joining us here on the Savvy Investor radio show and podcast, now available also on YouTube. That way you can see the show as it's happening right now. Also subscribe, like to all the social media platforms, and share those with your friends as well. That way they can also get this great information. Coming up a little bit later on, we're also going to give you the opportunity to sit down with Mike, with Ryan, with Lawrence, and the team at ProStatus. Today we got a great show for you. Can saving too much for retirement get you into tax trouble? And did you hear about this? Arnold Schwarzenegger was busted and it cost him about 10 grand in taxes. How can you avoid not getting busted? That's not what we're talking about here, but just getting a big tax hit. Mike and Ryan are here, and their goal for the last 20 years is to help you grow, keep, and distribute your wealth in the most tax-efficient manner possible. Mike Canet, it's great to see your face. It's great to be here. Lawrence is here with us as well. Happy Super Bowl weekend.
Mike, man, it's great to see you. And, you know, as we're looking at this, the idea that Super Bowl's coming up around this next weekend, it kind of brings back those memories, man. You and I and some other friends of ours, Art and Eddie, we went to the same game 5 years ago. We down at Joe Robbins Stadium in Miami. We went and saw the Chiefs beat the 49ers. Mm-hmm. So it was a great game then. And you know, and Art and I are going again this year. Sorry you can't join us, but looking forward to it. It's going to be another great game. Obviously, coming from Baltimore, you know, a little disappointed in the Ravens play.
Right.
They should have been there, in my opinion. The Chiefs didn't beat us. We lost. That's my opinion. But still, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great day.
Well, you know what? It is, of course, the big game and, you know, the two big teams and so on and so forth. But you know where this is going, Mike. Everybody's going to be talking about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. This thing is just taking over really the narrative of the Super Bowl. But before anyone says anything, you know, the fact is, man, that she has brought in, I think, I don't know if you guys saw the thread on this, I think about $331 million of brand value and recognition to not only the NFL, but the Chiefs. It's pretty big.
Well, I know every time she shows up at a game, the spending in that city for tickets and all that stuff and all the ancillary, you know, ripple effect that a sports event or any type of event has, it's huge. I know she has a huge impact on it. I say all the time, I mean, Lawrence, do you actually know any Taylor Swift songs?
I know 0 Taylor Swift songs.
Right. We talk about that all the time. I mean, I know who she is. I know she's got all sorts of hits out there, but I promise you, if you played 3 songs by 3 different kind of R&B, you know, pop music women, and Taylor Swift was one of them, I'm pretty sure I couldn't tell who she was. I just don't know her music. But I know there's, you know, good, bad, and otherwise. There's a huge outcry about her, which she's brought to it, good, bad, and otherwise. I mean, you know, some of the conspiracy theories floating around out there and all that other stuff. I'm just looking forward to a really good game. And, you know, one of these things that we talked about, you know, Lawrence and I were talking about the fact that, you know, the ability to have the resources to go to this game. And everybody says to themselves, oh my God, it's so expensive. But it's all kind of relative, right? So everything has a cost associated with it. And as you're going through life and you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, one of these days I would love to go see Taylor Swift, or one of these days I'd love to go see a Super Bowl, but I'm worried about, you know, how am I going to pay for that? Well, that's all part of the planning process. It's all well and good to have money set aside. You've done a great job putting money aside to create the income stream you're going to need, and you certainly need to create income. But it's just as important to have the income stream for the things that you need, but also for the things that you want. And, you know, one of the things I truly enjoy doing is going to these Super Bowls. We have such a great time with them. So part of my process, you know, even my wife tells me all the time we're going to live next to the daughter-in-law we like best. My whole mindset is that, yes, I got to pay for that, but I got to pay for the extras in life, man. We're still negotiating whether or not the motorcycle is part of the extras in life. But from my perspective, it is. And I have enough money to do it. So now I just got to find room in the garage. So that's where we are right now. So if you find yourself in this position where you're trying to figure out, not only do I have enough income to last me and my significant other, my spouse, for the rest of our lives, but you're trying to figure out, do I have the right income and the right asset level in order to do those extra things to enjoy the life the way I truly want to enjoy it? If you want to understand how that money can work for you, if you want to understand how to create those income streams and make sure the income buckets and the tax buckets are correct, you pick up the phone and give us a call at 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040. Sit down with Ryan, myself, Lawrence, our team, and let us create for you an income stream that you will never outlive. Let us show you how much extra money you truly have, because once your income is secure, you can actually go out and do all those extra things you wanted to do and know that your income is fine no matter what. We're going to talk to you about how much risk you're taking, the fees you're paying, long-term care, estate planning. And folks, we have 2 years left of the lowest tax rates we've ever seen in our life. Michael, it is time for people to pick up the phone and give us a call at 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040.
Again, that's 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040, and online, of course, at thesavvyinvestorradio.com. We let you know every week that you can also get in touch with Mike, Ryan, Lawrence, and the team at ProStatus through their website. Front page there is an income analysis button. You can click on that, and it'll get you right with Mike, Ryan, and Lawrence and the team at ProStatus. Again, that's 866-597-1040 and online at thesavvyinvestorradio.com. And that's a special opportunity for you today. If you've saved $500,000 or more for retirement, hey, congratulations. You've done a great job. Now, make sure that you have a plan for retirement that's not only going to help you grow, keep, and distribute your wealth, but it's going to help you do it in the most tax-efficient manner possible. 866-597-1040 and online at thesavvyinvestorradio.com. So it's being called Peak 65, and what that means is that this year, more than 12,000 people will be turning 65 this year, which means, Mike, Canet, and Lawrence, a lot of people are going to be wanting to retire. How do you see that? How do you see all these people, turning 65 and retiring, wanting to retire at the same time?
It's pretty incredible. I mean, to watch people come into our office at this point in their life, they've been working all these years. They've been making decisions, trying to save the right amount of money, not always in the right spot, but save enough money to get there. And when they come into our office and sit down and have these conversations with us, when we're able to show them that you've done a great job, you saved all this money, you now have the opportunity to do that honey-do list, that round two list, that bucket list, all those things that in your mind's eye you've been putting off until the day you retire. Mm-hmm. Well, you're there now. And to watch them walk in, show them the plan, and show them that they're actually able to live that life that they've dreamed, that they've been talking about for the last 3 to 5 years. Here's what we're going to do to retirement. And to be able to do that for them, it's a pretty rewarding feeling to be able to sit there and say to yourself, wow, I help these people actually effectuate their dreams, to actually accomplish their dreams, to be able to live that dream that they wanted. It's a pretty good feeling to be able to do that. And then when we're sitting there talking to them about how they've saved their money, that's when it gets really into the details of here are the ramifications of what you've done and what do we need to do differently to make sure we put you in the right spot.
You're right, Mike. People have done a great job of saving and should be proud of what they've done this far to get to that point. And really the question isn't, have I saved enough for retirement, but it's really, have I saved enough in the right bucket of money? Because there's really 3 buckets. There's the tax deferred bucket of money, which most folks have saved into. There's the tax everything bucket, and then there's the tax free bucket. So really unless you want 20 to 30% coming off the top in retirement, we want to start those tax planning conversations to get you into the right bucket, which is that tax free bucket of money. Now, having said that, there are certain cases where it's a little more complex, and that's for those folks that have, saved into real estate or bought real estate, or maybe, done their own businesses. Now, if that's the kind of situation you're in and you have those complex tax situations, your best bet is to give us a phone call at 866-597-1040, and let us take a look at your situation, let you help analyze it, and come up with some strategies to get into that tax-free bucket.
And that is complimentary for the next few Savvy Investor radio show and podcast callers. 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040, and online at thesavvyinvestorradio.com. Front page, click on the tax analysis button. That's thesavvyinvestorradio.com. Mike, with the 401k, I don't want to say it's easy because everyone's situation is different and it can be complicated. But as Lawrence was talking about, there's a lot of folks, and I keep going back to your YouTube page, but this is, again, another one of those top searches. People want to know, how can they retire with real estate? Because, I've got 4 or 5 houses or whatnot. I'm tired of being a landlord. Now, how do I create income? How do I sell it? And how do I do it in a tax-efficient manner?
Well, I think that's the big thing, right? People understand that they've done well by accumulating the real estate, and it certainly is an incredible asset. The problem is at some point you really don't want to be that landlord, right? You don't want to get a call at 3:00 in the morning. I mean, my wife and I, when we were younger, we had some rental properties. We still have some, but I remember specifically, we got a call one day. The tenant wanted me to go buy a stopper for the bathtub, a stopper. Like a $1.99
yeah,
stopper.
You could buy it, yeah.
And he was an hour away, and I said, well, just go by the next time you're at the grocery store or walking by the hardware store, just stop by and pick one up. And he took the position that I'm the landlord, I own the property, I have to do the repairs, and this was a necessary repair. And I mean, I changed my leases after that they have to pay for that nonsense. But as you get into retirement, you don't want to have those type of headaches anymore. You want to actually just be able to sit down and relax. And the other problem with having real estate, or quite frankly, a business, is that there's no liquidity, right? I mean, yes, it pays an income stream, but if you need an extra $20,000 or $50,000 because you want to take the kids and grandkids on a Disney cruise, or you want to do a round the world trip, or you want to put a pool in the backyard, or quite frankly, you want to buy a Bentley, whatever it is you want to do, you can't do that with a house. And so to have tax strategies on how to extricate yourself from being a landlord, there's very specific things you can do. And for a lot of people that are small business owners like myself and Ryan, I mean, we put our sweat, our equity, our blood, our tears. I mean, unlike a lot of you business owners out there, it's not like that I just woke up and I have this incredible business that was just successful for day one. There were times where we put money on credit cards in order to pay our bills. There were times when I had to feed my kids ramen noodles because I didn't have enough money to go buy them a steak. And if you're out there listening to this and you're that type of business owner where you have this incredible business, and it doesn't matter if it's worth $100,000 or $1 billion, you worked hard for that. That is something that you struggled to accomplish. And if you don't get kudos enough from it, you get kudos from Mike and Ryan and our team here, because I think being a small business owner is the most exciting, rewarding, painful, hard job other than raising children. It's got to be the hardest thing and the most rewarding thing that you've ever done. But there comes a time where you need to exit, right? And we've talked about those clients that they sold their business, and it was a hearing business, and the accountant and the two financial planners that they were working with didn't understand the tax ramifications. I mean, imagine if you sold this business and you're losing 20-30% right off the top because you sold the business. Or imagine that you sold the business and you did it in such a way that you structured the sale in such a way that you paid zero taxes at the sale, and you only pay taxes when you actually use the money. And here's where it gets really, really exciting. Just arbitrarily, $1 million business, you sell it, under normal circumstances, you're going to pay 20% taxes to the federal and around 9 or 10% taxes to the state of Maryland. Depending on what state you are in, the tax rate's going to be different. But nevertheless, you're going to lose 20 to 30% right off the top. Now, imagine if you could structure it in such a way that you sold your $1 million business, you paid zero taxes, you start collecting your Social Security if you're 65 or 62, whatever it is, and you start taking $20,000, $50,000, $75,000 a year out of the sale proceeds, and you pay zero taxes on those sale proceeds because you structured it correctly. So yes, you have an opportunity to sell your real estate, to divest yourself out of being a landlord, to downsize out of being a business owner, but you want to do it in such a fashion that you're not losing that 20 to 30% right off the top. I mean, that's like taking a knife and stabbing me in the heart. I worked hard to create this business, and I don't want to give any of it away to anybody, and you shouldn't either. And if you find yourself in that position, if you truly want to understand, if you're working with a CPA or some tax guy or some financial guy who hasn't said you have an option on how much tax you pay on the sale of your practice, on how much you pay on the sale of your real estate, you get to control that tax bill, and the tax bill can be as low as zero. If they're not having that conversation with you, you need to pick up the phone and call us, 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040. Let us sit down with you and show you. Yes, we're going to show you how to create income. We're going to talk to you about the risk you're taking and the fees you're taking, about long-term care. But Michael, most importantly, we're going to talk to you about the tax implications of those sales and how to structure it in such a way that you can literally end up paying 0% taxes. Give us a call at 866-597-1040.
Again, that's 866-597-1040 and online at thesavvyinvestorradio.com. That's thesavvyinvestorradio.com. Tax planning analysis button is right there, front page, makes it easy for you to connect with Mike, Ryan, Lawrence, and the team at ProStatus. Again, that's 866-597-1040 and online at thesavvyinvestorradio.com. You have done an amazing job of working, whether it's a business, whether it's real estate, whatever the case may be. If you've saved $500,000 or more for retirement, congratulations. Now make sure that you get the help that you need so you can grow, keep, and distribute your wealth in the most tax-efficient manner possible. Mike, as we're talking about this, Mike, by the way, is a financial planner and estate planning attorney with a master's degree in tax and 4-time Amazon best-selling author. His latest book is Nothing is Certain But Death and Taxes Until Now. I always forget to talk about the book, but you talk a lot about taxes in the book, and that's what people are so interested about. Mike, but as we're talking about businesses here, what is a good age where, if somebody's thinking about selling that business, do they have to wait until they're getting ready to retire, or can they start planning for, hey, I'm good right now, I'm enjoying what I'm doing, 20 years from now, 10 years from now, I do want to sell this business? Is there a good prep time, a planning time for those out there that are listening that have businesses that are thinking about that right now?
Well, I truly believe that everybody should start working with a financial planner and a tax planner pretty early in life, right? I mean, 20, 30, it's not that you have to hire one full time, but I think it behooves you to spend a little bit of money to get some guidance. Maybe 25 or 30, you sit down and start having those conversations. And, maybe it's only every 5 or 7 years that you sit down and have an ongoing conversation. But sometime around 50, 55, as you're within 5 to 10 years of actually thinking that you're going to pull that proverbial trigger, you want to have a plan in place. You don't want to show up at the last minute. Here's a prime example. We have a chiropractor, and he came to us and said he's thinking about selling his properties, and talked to us, and we had some conversations about it. And then just the other day, he called me and said, okay, I sold this property and I have a contract on the other property. I'm like, dude, I told you, don't do this until we talked about how you're going to do this and why you're going to do this. I told you the rules, but you move forward without actually having a conversation with me so that I could finalize everything for you. So he sold one piece of property, and at this point, he either has to pay the tax or he has to defer the tax for 10 years and can't touch anything. Well, he's 75-ish, and he doesn't want to defer for 10 years and not touch anything. That doesn't make sense for him, and I agree, but he's going to pay $150,000, $200,000 in taxes because he didn't talk to me ahead of time. Wow. And he has another piece of property, and this is where the wrong advice givers come into play. So we explained to him how he can pay almost zero taxes on the sale of another piece of property. And we had this conversation, we explained it to him, so he went to get a second opinion, and I'm okay with that. But he went to get a second opinion with somebody he had worked with in the past, and this person in the past said, yeah, you can do that, and explain where the fees are, because it's not cheap to hire attorneys to do some advanced tax planning. And so they came back to me and said, we want to do that's too expensive. And I had to sit down and explain to them that, look, think about this. If you go the direction he's going, yes, absolutely, you're not going to pay that fee. You're not going to pay that attorney that fee. It's going to cost you $10,000 to set up the legal work, and it's going to cost you another $5,000 a year in fees. I don't deny it to the attorney. But here's the difference. Under the scenario that other guy at that big box store is suggesting, you're going to lose $300,000 of your proceeds to taxes. Well, heck, if you do it my way, the $300,000 more than pays the fees for the services that you're going to get to protect the tax bill. And then now, because of the way the rest of your income is structured, we could take $50,000 to $60,000 out of the proceeds, pay zero taxes on it, coupled with your Social Security. We're still below the filing threshold because the standard deduction and capital gains work out to be a 0% tax rate for them. But they're caught up because this other advisor said, oh, you're going to pay $15,000 in fees every year. And they can't get past that because they don't understand the full tax picture. And I had to go back to them and say, look, I understand this advice giver is saying, oh, you might not want to do that because there's these fees. But he did not sit down with them and show them, here's how the tax planning actually plays out. And the amount of money that they could save in taxes by doing it this way is huge. And it more than covers the additional fee. So at the end of the day, they wind up more money in their pocket, more assets for them, more assets for their heirs, or they can save the $15,000. I mean, obviously different situations vary for everybody, but at the end of the day, you actually have to work with somebody who truly understands not only the investment aspects of it, but the legacy aspects of it and the tax aspects of it. And the problem we have with most advice givers is that what they say is that, look, this is my job, but see my blinders? I'm not allowed to look at anything. I can just see this. And if it's going on over here, I don't even want to know about it because God forbid, if you look at the bottom of my statement, it says I can't give tax advice. And the attorney says, I can't talk to you about taxes. And the CPA says, oh my God, I can't even give you tax advice because if I'm wrong, you'll be mad at me. That is such bull crap. Everybody deserves sound estate planning, sound investment planning, and sound tax planning. And fortunately for our clients, we offer that all under one roof, and you can have that experience too by giving us a call at 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040. Sit down with Ryan, myself, and our team. Let us show you how to create income streams you and your spouse will never outlive. Let us show you how to have that extra money. Talk about your fees. Talk about how much risk you're taking. Talk about long-term care, estate planning, healthcare. Talk about taxes. And if you own a business and you pay taxes on the sale of your business, when you sell it, shame on you, shame on the advice givers. You made a huge mistake. Give us a call, 866-597-1040.
I'm going to reach back here and grab your book, Mike. Nothing is certain but death and taxes. Page 15. It says, how can a person provide investment advice without actually understanding the tax implications on that advice?
Drives me crazy.
And I can,
Drives me absolutely crazy.
Well, I mean, we can hear it, obviously, in your voice. And it's not about you. It's about your clients. It's about those listening right now. But I can see in your face, I can tell in your voice that it hurts you when people, unfortunately, through no fault of their own, make these massive tax mistakes. I mean, I could see it in your face. And we thank you for that. We thank you for your passion and always reaching out to you. As you were talking about, if you are listening right now and you want to reach out to Mike, to Ryan, and the team at ProStatus, you can do that. They've got an opportunity for you today. 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040. Whether you're retiring, you've got a business, and you want to see what you can do with that in the most tax-efficient manner possible, 866-597-1040, and online at thesavvyinvestorradio.com. That's thesavvyinvestorradio.com. Front page tax analysis button. That'll get you with Mike and the team. Thanks again for joining us today. Whether you are listening, whether you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, share it with your friends as well. That way they too can get this great information. Got a wrap for this weekend. As always though, Mike, Lawrence, today you guys get the final word.
This is Lawrence Kiely. Thank you for listening to the Savvy Investor radio show and podcast.
And this is Mike Canet. We'll see you, the Savvy Investor, next week.
Advisory services offered through ProStatus Financial Advisors Group, a registered investment advisor. Insurance licensed in Maryland. ProStatus Financial Advisors Group, LLC is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if ProStatus Financial Advisors Group is licensed in your state, please call 410-863-1040. ProStatus Group, LLC is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through representatives of ProStatus Financial Advisors Group.